Hello, Board Game Shenanigans here for another video. So Gloomhaven Grand Festival has just been up on BackerKit for about a day now, so I'm deciding to give my thoughts on it and just my thoughts on Gloomhaven in general, and I guess why I've never decided to buy it or play it really, and why I'm not convinced to get it from this campaign. So just to give a quick look at it, it's currently at about $1.5 million and from 6,500 backers roughly. And I assume this is going to go up. This has been 24 hours, but I'm thinking it's going to get a much higher, maybe at least 10,000 here, maybe up to 20 potentially, because it's up for a month. So, but I know that the most people either come in day one or they come in the last few days. Really, how these things work. So overall, this is actually they still haven't met their goal, which it's a real goal here, but I think that they could have done much better, and I'll go into why later. But to start, this is kind of the first thing that kind of stood out for me is similar to other games, they've gone in with we're going with loads of stuff rather than one game, and I think the Frosthaven campaign was much more successful because it was just here's a new game, buy it or don't, and this is where they've gone the completely opposite way, similar to another game I made a video about recently was Aeon Trespass Odyssey. That was the same type of thing where they've gone all in with loads of stuff at one time, and they've gone with a second edition of the original Gloomhaven, they've come in with an RPG, and they've come in with all these miniatures. And it's similar to like Teneris Adventures as well, which is going to have another campaign in a week. Loads of stuff, RPG, loads of minis, loads of game stuff to get, and loads of different boxes overall. And just to go through some of the pledge levels, I'll pull them on the separate tab here. You can actually get Frosthaven, which is just about complete shipping now in June this year. So again, it's another way that they could have actually waited a bit longer, I think, because people have only just got their hands on Frosthaven. Do they really want to spend more money now? And I think that's probably putting people off because, they might want more minis for the game because they, like minis and like having them in the game, and putting all the monsters into minis is a big upgrade that people would consider. But I think that they could have waited, more 6 months or another year maybe, because I think it's a bit too soon. And I think the timing for this is a bit poor, and that's why they're not doing that well. The RPG, the main book, it's not that many people, but I think you need the whole set really to play it properly. So that's, I think, where the most people have gone in with. They want the RPG, which I think that's bringing in a new audience for Gloomhaven. Really, I think that most people who play it, don't really play normal traditional RPGs. So it's somewhat different. I think it's bringing new people in with this part of it. But personally, for me, RPGs aren't something I'm big into. I've never really got into it. I tried a few times, but it never stuck around, or people didn't want to meet up again. It kind of fell through at the end. So I never really committed to an RPG. A second edition, so this is like just an upgrade to the original with a few changes here or there, and I think a lot of people have gone for this. 1,000 people have gone in, and I think that is. Yeah, I think that's a bit disappointing. I think they might be disappointed in that amount of people, to be honest. I think that they wanted a lot more, but again, Frosthaven's really the second Gloomhaven, so to go back and modify the original when the original was the top game for years, like 3, 4, 5 years almost. It was top on Board Game Geek, so people already loved the game the way it was. Did it need a second edition? And then that makes people question this campaign as well. Having miniatures and stuff here or there as well, that's for me, that is more convincing. Oh, that sounds good. Loads of minis, and you're getting, this just for the original game, 259. Now there's a lot of duplicates in there. You're gonna get the same monster 10 times and things like that. But it is like, having a lot of plastic minis on the table. It seems more, appealing to me. I think it'll make the game, because having half minis, half standees, to me, it's like it just sticks out a bit more than it would. I think if you had all minis, you'd all look nice, and you could paint them all, and your game would look, amazing. And then you've got the top tier pledges as well. You got all the minis, so you got a box for the original game, a box for Frosthaven, a box for the Jaws of the Lion, a box for the Forgotten Circles box as well. So you're getting minis for everything, and that's I think it's like 600 minis, and I think again that's one of the big pledges. Same with this one here, which is the same but with the RPG and the new Gloomhaven edition. And then you've got 100 people just going in with the minis for Gloomhaven. I think that one is a bit halfway there. I think people would rather just go for one or the other here. They wouldn't want to miss out on all the minis, or they want the new game. They don't want to just have minis and RPG. I think that's a bit, most people won't care about that. I think the RPG as well, I think that's like tacked on. If they had another pledge that was the game, maybe both Frosthaven and Gloomhaven with the minis, that would do quite well. But I think that the RPG, not many people, want that on top of all the rest. I think that if they want it, they're going for this one here. So yeah, that's just my little talk through those. But just to scroll through how they've got the campaign, they've got all the different ones, and I think the prices to these, it's like, well, with Frosthaven, I think that 180, that's a bit too much, and that's because at retail you can buy this right now and it's going to cost you just as much. So there's no point in waiting for another printing when you can just go buy it now and play it now, because you're still putting the money down for this month when the pledge goes through. So you might as well just set that money and buy it now and play it, right? The minis, if you want to wait for those, it's 603 minis. That's a massive amount of minis. You could be painting like those for years, really, especially if you're not too much into painting and you don't want to rush it as well. Ultimate set, again, with the RPG and minis and the game. So I think that people want all the minis. So I think with that, it's not doing as well as they thought because of that. I think people want all the minis, so they went for this one instead, which is pretty much everything new that they've made, except they don't have the reprint of the Frosthaven in there. So if you don't have Frosthaven, you have to add that on as well. And then they've got like a retail pledge, which I think this was up the top before, but I think people said move it down here because only a few people are going to do this, like shopkeepers and things like that. So the game itself, personally, I've just never, got sucked in and gone, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Being number one, it wasn't convincing enough for me because, that's just, hype, and that's just people upvoting it to oblivion until it's the top. And that's why it was the top, really. It's not that it was a perfect game. It's not that I didn't have any flaws, and it's not that there weren't people who didn't like it. So for me, I never really got into it, and even then, I've got to points where I've seen Jaws of the Lion for £30, I've seen Gloomhaven for £60, and I've still turned them both down every time. And it's multiple times I've seen them for 30 to 40 for Jaws of the Lion, 60, 70 for the original Gloomhaven, and I still didn't buy it. And for me, it's like I'm one of the core market for this game because I am a gamer who plays big board games, plays campaign games, loves playing co-op games, and they've never gripped me to get this game, and I don't know exactly why, but I think that there's definitely a lot of things that they might be doing wrong and trying to advertise to other people. Maybe it's that there's the way they do it, where it's always at retail anyway, so there's never an urgency to buy it in a Kickstarter or in a BackerKit now. I think it's just something that I could get any time, so I've never felt the FOMO, as people would say, the fear of missing out, because I can just go to the shop and get it any day I want. Then you got like different scenarios, stickers, and you can upgrade your original copy, but for $60 more, you just get the brand new everything. So I think more people are not bothered with this. They're going to just jump in and get a reprint and then sell their old copy and make a bit of more money out of it, because a pre-owned copy, they could still have removable stickers and they clean it up and people can have it fresh and they can sell it pre-owned. So again, there's a little less reason to get this. It's a bit too steep for an upgrade, I think. There's like little storage upgrade things like that, foreteller, the general things, but you can pick these up anytime, really. There's other places that do inserts. This is, one of the most popular games ever. You're not going to run out of people making inserts. And then you have the RPG, and I think, again, it's just there's too much stuff here. It's like bloat. You've got an RPG, you've got a reprint, you've got minis. It's just so many different things that you got to have to look into. And if you're someone like me who's not bought any of it, I want to know when to get into it. Where's my starting point? But for me here, it's like, well, I've got to think: do I want the Frosthaven? Do I want Gloomhaven? Do I want all the minis? Do I want just to get the base game and enjoy that? And even then, the second edition here, does it come with the expansion for the original, the Forgotten Circles? Because I can't see that on here that you get that included in the new version, or do you have to still? They're going to make a second print of that as well down the line. What about Jaws of the Lion? There's no Jaws of the Lion on here. If they're selling the minis for it, shouldn't they sell a bundle with the actual original Jaws of the Lion to give you the convince to get it now? Bundle it up and wait for it, really. Then you got the second print of Frosthaven. Still, the top Kickstarter out there for board games. And 180, you can get it for retail that much. So, again, people are really going to go and get this here, and they weren't. It was like a few hundred, and that was about it. And then more mats, more space organizers, things like that, just... And the minis, some of these look a bit generic, like a bear, a normal dragon type of thing, some plant, people, so a snake, some of these look a bit generic. I don't know if they're going to be high quality. The Gloomhaven minis, I don't think they were always, the top type of thing. And again, like I said, you're getting 10 of 10, 6. So a lot of duplicates in here. It's not unique sculpts, and these images, I don't think they do it justice. I think they look a bit smooth. They don't look as detailed as you think they should. So but maybe that's why it's so cheap. Just for this, does it say at the top? It'll be down here somewhere how much it costs for each set. They're not actually a bad price. I think they're quite good. They've got summons, so these must be characters you summon in the game, right? Tokens instead of standees and stuff. A lot here, work in progress. They've had a long time to do this. Shouldn't they have got all the sculpts ready and then launched this, and then it'd come much sooner? I think that would have helped them. So then here's the Forgotten Circles. You can't buy this in the campaign, or is it included in the new version? I couldn't see that. Jaws of the Lion again. This would be, okay, if you only had this one, to get a bit more minis for it. But again, it's quite a short one. Is it like 6 missions or something? So people might already finish those and never want to play it again, really. This is the Gloomhaven and Frosthaven are the bigger campaigns to do. So I'm just kind of rambling on here about what I'm thinking. Here we go, miniatures. So it's just as much as the game to get the minis for the game. So it's double the price of the game. And I think that is a bit steep overall. I think doubling, and that doesn't include the summons either as well. So you want to, it's more for the minis than the game. And if you're getting the original at retail, that's going to cost much cheaper. Like I said, I've seen it for 60, 70, 80 even, like brand new, no dinks in the box, perfect condition. It varies in price. It goes on sale, so people can just go back and get the retail. So they don't. There's no urgency to back anymore of the campaign. Maybe more people jumped on Frosthaven when it was live because they want to be a part of the big campaign. Get it because everyone's hyping it up. But I think the hype's gone. I think it's just everyone who's probably wanted to get the game has already done it. They've already put their money down. They already got Frosthaven. They've already bought Gloomhaven. And now there's the remnants like me they're trying to convince, and I don't know if it's going to help. I think not as many people want to throw more money at the same game. They'll probably just go and buy new games instead. So yeah, all the different boxes as well. It's a lot of different boxes, a lot of SKUs here. Couldn't they have just done all the original Gloomhaven, put the expansion in the new box, and then said, yeah, you can get the minis, all one massive box? Because who just wants the summons? I don't think many will just want the summons. They want the monsters more, and then they dive in with the rest and add them all together into one big box, or at least sell them all together and don't bother with the boxes. Put them in you could separate them out in the box into trays, but I don't see many people just wanting half of the. That's why they've been bundling these together in the pledges above. And then, they're doing Frosthaven as well. It's like, so they've been sitting on all these minis for years and they're building them up and they haven't got them all finished yet. But there's so many for all these different games. This is 2 games or 3 games because they've got Jaws Line. So 3 different games minis for it. I mean, they could have gone in with, a complete ultimate Gloomhaven with all the minis and the game. Super massive, 2 boxes gone and 1 pledge. And people would probably have bought that more than knowing that they've got to get all these different minis if they want them all because they've got all these different little expansions and sets to get. We got down to the shipping as well, and you can see that getting them all in, you got your $70. You don't want to be an Australian here. They're not backing this for everything. I mean, with that shipping, that's more than the game of just Gloomhaven. Then they could get it in retail. So again, some of these are off-putting for people, I think. The shipping isn't amazing. And again, this is $25 for a Frosthaven or a Gloomhaven, $20 for just the base minis, or $70 for everything. But that's that's a guess. That's not the fact amount of it. And then you got VAT. So for me, 20% on top as well. So that's just it's put off point because if I go into store, the VAT is included, so I could get it for $60, like I've looked at and found, and seen in the past. That's including tax. So, and I don't have to pay shipping because it's free. So there's no reason for me to back it now. There's no reason for me to want to buy it. And then the timeline is a bit ridiculous because it's 4 waves total. I think that's just too much. I think they could have done this in multiple campaigns. They could have, done a Frosthaven reprint first, got a load more people involved, and then come out with the 2nd edition. I don't even know if they needed it, though. I think they could have left it. But it's like, so Wave 1 is in October this year, so you can get it at retail now anyway, so there's no point doing that. Then you've got Wave 2, and it's coming next March, which is Gloomhaven 2nd edition. But, if you're not too bothered, the original game's already good enough. Just get the original game. I don't think that's not convincing me, because, just because they tweaked the game a bit, it doesn't mean that the original's bad now. It's not, because people still rave about it and say it's the best game ever and one of their favourites. So, did it need a new edition? I don't think so. And then you get Wave 3, and they've gone in with the RPG, which, so you're waiting it's another 4 months for RPG, and then you go for Wave 4 with minis, which you want to play with the minis. So if you get in Frosthaven and Gloomhaven, then you still got to wait another year to get your minis to actually play it. So you might as well just get the minis, and then buy the rest at retail whenever these arrive. Really, you could just do it that way. You could just go get the minis now, and if the minis are coming to retail as well, then you don't need to back it. And I assume because it's Gloomhaven, it's Frosthaven, the biggest games ever made from the last 5 years, really. And they're so popular, top of Board Game Geek. Everyone knows what it is. It's got video games. The video game version of the game has just been announced for consoles. They gave it for free on Epic Game Store. Gloomhaven's becoming a bigger name. It's going into the video game world. And people say the video game is better than the board game sometimes. So there's quite a lot there that really, people are starting drifting away from backing games like this, and especially Gloomhaven. I think it's had its popularity, and at the same time, there are people there who already, everyone who wanted it, have already got it. And I think that's generally happens. I guess this moves on to another point here with this sort of thing. They're very political, I think, Cephalofair games. They're not, they don't beat around the bush with their politics. They put it in your face, they put it in the game, and they tell you about it. And I think that something that puts people off as well, because if you have a disagreement with some of the things, do they need to say, don't do this, don't be a jerk, if you're going to be a jerk, we don't want your money? I think that puts people off. Having that in your campaign, what's a jerk? Disagreeing? Because it says insulting, inflammatory language. Well, swearing, is that a bad thing? I mean, people swear all the time. It's a very common thing to swear. It's in media. Any TV show will tell you. People say, the Lord's name in vain. They say things like that all the time, and people have to put up with that. They say all these different swears, and you might not be comfortable with that. I'm not a comfortable person with that. I don't swear all the time. I don't do that sort of thing in my life, but I know people do, and people do it to vent. And venting in a comment section of an online forum is the same thing. So does this mean that if you say something like they don't like you say this game sucks in their discreet comment section, they'll drop your pledge and say you can't pledge anymore? Because that's what it says, reserves the right to refuse service to anyone. Well, do you want my money or not? It seems that you don't want people's money. You just want a little, I guess, safe space, for lack of a better term there, to say we only want people who support us no matter what. And that's not how you make good games. That's not how you build a rapport with the people you are making games for, because that's what you're doing. You're selling a product. If you're doing this, you're not really doing well as a game designer, a game publisher, because you want to make everyone happy. That's the point. And if people are venting and giving you bad comments, you need to discuss it with them and say, how can we make it better for you? Because we are selling you a product, not we're dropping your pledge, we don't want your money. That's where, gatekeeping. That's what gatekeeping is, because you're saying, you know what, if you don't meet our set personality characteristics of a board gamer, get out. That's what they're saying. They're gatekeeping people out of gaming. And that puts me off as well. This sort of thing, you don't need to say this. This is not moral. They're acting like a moral high ground with this comment, but it's not. This is, anti-people. This is trying to turn people away. This turns people away, and it's turning me away just reading it. I didn't even know this was in this campaign until I just got down here, and that's just very bad. I think that's a very bad, public service. This is bad PR, bad public relations. This side of comments right here. So then they go socials, blah, blah, blah. They're doing puzzles, go to for interaction. But again, this is all planned out. We know this is all stuff. It's just they're going to show off more of the game. That's all they're doing. Anyway, to move on. I've seen the shipping. I'm just having a look. The original, not the original campaign, but this is the reprint. They got about 950k in the first day and 10,000 people. So they've got more money now because it's more money to sink in, because there's a $98 average back then, but 10k people. So they got more people with their second printing at day one. So is the hype dying down? Are people not as interested anymore? Maybe so. And then you have the behemoth, which was Frosthaven. People bought more because it was a more expensive game. 156, 83,000 people, but 4.5 million day one from 30,000. They've got a fifth of that now. So they clearly, they've had their peak. I guess this is their peak of what they did. Really, then I don't think they'll ever beat this. I don't think a game's going to beat this for a long time. This was right as the disease that should not be named appeared, so that happened, and now, everything, the economy and things like that, they're not as healthy as they used to be, so things are going to get, worse before they get better. So, again, this might have been, the last possible moment for a game like this to happen. It's like, it might take a long time, and by the next time it happens, will this amount of value of money not even be worth as much as this anymore? That's a consideration as well. So they had the original. That had 400,000, so this was like a smaller game, and what a lot of these more startups are getting these days as well. And I think they did all right with this, and that's why they've built it up. This is where they proved themselves to make a good game, and then they followed up with this, and 10 times the amount of people came in, the money 10 times the amount, and they blew out the water. And then they had so many different retail sales after this, because people actually were stocking this in retail stores. This is like, when I walked into a store and I saw it, and I wasn't in the Kickstarter board game space at that time, and I saw it on a board game store shelf, and I was like, that's massive. Where's that come from? And it was the first massive box game I really saw that was given its own like shelf really of copies in a board game store. So it did like blow up in retail as well. And yeah, like the original like plus statement, 83,000, 12 million, still the top. And with these old campaigns, I do like to come back and have a look, especially when the campaign's finished, because this one, it only just finished shipping like this month, like 100%, stuff that they've been claiming is happening now. And the original, the second printing, that shipped out like start of 2018. So that was like in 2017, and then 2018 it shipped. So, but this one, they did say that it was going to be March 21, but that was a year after the Kickstarter, and they didn't meet it. They missed that. And I know the world the way it is, but again, it's not only that, it was the game, it was how they were designing it and how long it was going to take them. It took longer than they thought. And so that's 2 years late for most people, but they didn't have they need to wait longer. This was 3 years after the original, the second printing. So it took 2 years after shipping that people could come in. So 2 years was a good enough time for people to go, yeah, I want some more Gloomhaven. Whereas for March, 2021, if they waited now 2 years since that was the shipping, and then they did this campaign, they were getting a lot more people, I think, if they actually shipped in this time. But they didn't. They shipped this year, so most people only got it start of this year. So again, that's kind of a negative on them, how they've handled these things. So I like to come back and look at comments sometimes when these Kickstarter campaigns have done, because then you get the stragglers who come back and comment because they haven't got the games. And this happens with a lot of game campaigns here. You come back and see, where's my game? You didn't give him my game. Where you shipped it to me. And here's the first things you see. Got 300, got nothing. Never trust them, says Aaron. Again, I'm this backer. I never got it. I haven't got my foreteller. I think there's another one here saying, it's down here. Yeah. Yeah, this one, I think. This guy, I think he's saying he didn't get stuff like, you never get your game. Yeah, I would warn against trusting these people. Same guys. So there's the guys like they're not getting responded to, trying to help them out, saying. And then again, like I said, there is people making it saying it's politics is like the way they are. I mean, is that part of it where the people are saying that they don't want to back the games anymore because of the way they started acting? Because they're getting more and more that way, as you can see from that last post where they were saying, "Don't back the game if we don't gonna give you the game. If you don't like we don't like what you're saying." Yeah, this guy. Yeah, so he says, "Good luck, suckers." Things like that. People are missing out. Not everyone got the game. Things like that. It's like. Shouldn't they be responding to these people and saying, hey, very sorry, we can help you out, we'll ship you a copy, we want to make things right. But I think because there's such a big game, a few people here or there that they've disappointed, they're not helping out anymore. They just like throw them under the bus and say, nah, we're not going to help. But yeah, and then the other thing is they've launched it on BackerKit instead of Kickstarter. You can't really ignore that part of it, really. And I think that if it was still on Kickstarter, they'd probably have done better. I'd honestly say. I think BackerKit, it's below GameFound. It's like third place. It's like the bronze level crowdfunding platform. It's still like starting up, but they announced this I think this is 2020. Yeah, 2022. Yeah, last year. So they announced this a year ago, and they built it up, and they've come out now with it, but it's just not done as well as you thought that when they started. You think with all this new content they would have blown it out of the water, but again, it's like 600 now, but they could. There's less people, but more people, more money in at one time because you're selling more expensive products. So just like to summarize, I think the game's too bloated now with all this content in one campaign. It's like selling too much at once. I think this is the wrong platform for it to make a. There's not going to beat Frosthaven because it's on a different platform. I think if it's on Kickstarter again, people get notified. They go, "Hey, we're back! You've got a new campaign to back," and everyone would jump on and back it. But now they don't know it's been put live on this other platform because they didn't send out the emails to everyone. And 4 waves, it's quite a long, different set of waves, and they're going to be late. None of them are going to be bang on that month. They're going to take months and months to ship. Some people might be getting those minis late 2015, 2026, 2025, 2026, probably. Saying the wrong years. I'm so confused, but it's just that many different waves. You got different. Messing with my head, how many different waves are gonna have, And then do people already have this game? People already have the original. It was the top game. Thousands of people have got it. I think there's not gonna be many more who need it. I think you get it retail if they need it now. I think the days of the campaigns for Gloomhaven, they could slow down on that now. They don't need to be doing campaign after campaign. That because they've got they've cemented themselves in the retail space. You can buy Frosthaven, you can buy Gloomhaven in any retail store. You can find a local shop and they'll buy it for you and bring you a copy down. You can buy it on any online store. You can buy it on Amazon. There's a million different options to get this game, but I don't think crowdfunding is going to be the way they need to do it anymore. And then general, they said like the politics, the personal beliefs of this company, where they were saying that they're gonna, don't be hateful, don't do this, or we're gonna, drop your pledge, gatekeeping, that mentality. It's not a very good thing to promote. You should just avoid that and just say, hey, sorry, speak more politely to people when they say something out of line. That's all you have to do. You don't have to make a big statement about it, because then it's like people are more going to get riled up because you're telling them what to do. And then, for me, they still haven't sold it to me on the original cart game, on Jaws of the Lion. Even though I've seen it for cheap, I never bought it. And I know I've not really talked much about the way the game is, but at the same time, like I said, it's a game I can buy at any time. There's no fear of missing out. There's nothing I'm worrying about. I know I can get this game any day of the week, so I don't think I need to rush to get it. So if I want to get it and do a review of it, I'll do it. But right now, it's just not something I'm interested in. And then you've got, the economic side of it. There's a lot of money there to invest at one time. It's the middle of summer. It's not a time where people have got their savings ready. Like, that's more Christmas time type of thing. People have got their money ready to put their money down on summer. Other campaigns have come out before this, Aeon's Trespass, things like that. That's another big popular game. It's got well reviewed from Dice Tower and people like that, just like Gloomhaven did. So the influencers already forced that one down on us, so now this one's coming to follow up, but no one's been talking about it as much recently. People, Brass overtook it in like the Board Game Geek, so again, Gloomhaven could come back up a bit, but now they're saying, it's a new version, and do people want to go in with the same game but with a few tweaks? I don't really think so, and I think it's too pricey for the upgrade kit as well. Shipping, taxes, that's all on there as well. It's a harder sell overall with that. And yeah, I think it is just too soon. I think they could have waited another year or so and then come out with some more stuff like this, like the minis, and get all the minis ready. Like, if they were all ready to go and it wasn't coming in 2025, people would more jump on it. Like, it's coming this year, and I can wait to play Frosthaven that just shipped if we're getting some more minis for it, maybe. But again, I think they could have waited till people have played through these games already. And the minis as well, like, do people want to play these games again? Because a lot of people who really like the game, they've already played through it all the way through. They've done it. They've finished the game. And they don't want to play it again with minis. They've already done it with the standees. They're already used to the standees. This is for the new players mainly, to get them to invest now, the mini painters and the RPG players. But I don't think they're going to pull as many in as they think. I think that they might have bitten off more than they can chew, and to call it like a grand festival, I don't think it's going to be as grand as they think it was going to be in the first place. But other than that, nothing against the people who make the game, nothing against the team, nothing against the game, really. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's not for me, maybe I could give it a go and it'll be good. I've got the Epic Game Store free copy of the original digital game, so I'll give it a go, give it a whack, see what I feel. Because I'd much rather play a board game physical than digital, but, you know, to each their own. And, you know, just buy responsibly. Don't get too caught up in buying everything if you don't think you need it. And remember, it's just a board game. Enjoy it. Have fun. You don't need to stress out about it, and you don't need to get everything right now, because a lot of this is going to come to retail, you know? So if you've listened to this little ramble, thanks very much for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share the video, and also comment and give me your thoughts on Gloomhaven and Frosthaven and this campaign in particular, and what you feel is why it's not doing as well as the older game they've launched on Kickstarter, and also, I guess, what you feel that what you want to see out of Gloomhaven and these type of games in the future. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.